everyone, my name is Gumaelius, and today I will be talking about my research conducted at Fiddleheads Forest School in the Washington Park Arboretum. The title of my study is called Roots of Awareness, Branches of Action: The Gap Between Preschool Students' Environmental Knowledge and Physical Interactions. So, let's get started. There is an increasing gap between humans and nature, meaning that many times humans don't understand the impact that their actions have on the natural environment. This has led to even more environmental issues, and it has become clear that we must act quickly and decisively to address these issues. However, environmental education can be used to help close this gap by developing students' views of and connections to the natural world. Specifically, early childhood education is very good at playing a significant role in shaping long-term attitudes and behaviors towards nature. However, many young students may have perceptions of a concept, but are at the developmental age where they test the boundaries of this concept. For example, students may know that it's inherently bad to harm nature, but may still engage in things like pulling leaves off of plants. So, with all of this in mind, I came up with the research question: is there a disconnect between the students' conceptual understanding of the environment and their physical interactions with it? To address this question, I worked at Fiddleheads Forest School in the Washington Park Arboretum as an intern there, and I conducted several interviews with the students as well as observations. For the observations, they were witnessed and written in a journal assessing the students' interactions with the natural environment. For the prominent interactions, they were labeled as either expected behavior or unexpected behavior. Expected behavior would be when the students showed care for the natural environment, such as carefully observing bugs or reminding each other not to harm it. Unexpected behavior, on the other hand, would be where students showed harm for the natural environment, such as in the picture shows, stomping on bugs or pulling leaves off of plants. I also conducted several interviews during week 5 and 6 and again in week 10 to see how the students viewed their place in nature. The interviews were conducted in a group setting because the students were young enough to where a structured setting might not be appropriate for them. However, this was accommodating for the students. It might have resulted in a little bit of a biased outcome. So, what were the results of these interviews and observations? Well, the interviews revealed that students expressed a connection to and responsibility for the natural environment, with one student saying, "You know how Venus got really hot? The Earth can do the same thing, but not eating beef and planting trees will help." Another student said, "There are different ways to hurt a plant, like picking their leaves, rolling them up, and even stepping on them. That's why we have garden borders." So you can see here, both of these students are very enthusiastic about nature and even show a greater understanding of environmental problems, such as climate change. On the other hand, this graph here shows the expected behaviors versus unexpected behaviors daily. This is a box and whisker plot where you can see um, each of the graphs show either expected or unexpected behaviors daily, and you can see here that the unexpected behaviors are much higher than the expected behaviors. An example of this from my daily journal was the students were given shovels to dig in the dirt, and one of the students kept hacking a tree with his shovel. I told him the tree was alive and not to hurt it. He listened for a minute, but then went back to swinging his shovel at the tree. So you can see here that even though the student is reminded that it's wrong to hit the tree and that it actually hurts it, he still goes about and tests those boundaries and to hit the tree again. So when comparing these results of observations and interviews, you can see that there's a clear disconnect between the students' environmental beliefs and their actual interactions with the natural environment. This is because, well, the interviews showed students having a strong connection to nature. The observations showed students disregarding this connection in favor of testing boundaries. So, what does this all mean? The disconnect between students' conceptual understanding of the environment and their physical interactions with it can actually be addressed through adapting certain practices as an environmental educator. For example, Bloomstein and Salins show that several ways that an environmental educator can make this happen. The first was to break the divide between nature and culture. An environmental educator could do this by explaining to the students how the worms that they find under logs actually help aerate the soil, and that this aeration of the soil helps plants grow. And some of these plants that are growing from these worms aerating the soil might be the plants that they eat. Number two, demonstrate ecosystem complexity. Environmental educators might have children act out certain animals or plants in an ecosystem and show how the students how they interact together. Number three, encourage critical thinking. This can actually be played out by something that I created called expected and unexpected behavior cards over the course of my stay at Fiddleheads Forest School. I created these cards based off of students' interactions with the natural environment over the 10 weeks that I was with them. You can see here that one card shows unexpected behavior and the other card shows expected behavior. So this could be used as a sort of matching game where the students can test their knowledge on what they should be how they should be interacting with the natural environment. Other than using this for critical thinking, future studies could use this and other certain interventions to test whether this would reduce unexpected behavior when interacting with nature. I would like to thank my site supervisor, Bree Castle, my faculty advisor, Eli Wheat, and the amazing teachers and staff that I worked with at Fiddleheads Forest School, my cohort, my friends, my family for supporting me throughout my whole Capstone experience. Thank you, everyone.